In Louisiana, check this out. They passed a bill in March giving Republican Governor Jeff Landry more command over the state's public defender system. Now, district defenders were told about potential pay cuts, also reversing raises. Now, mind you, this is the same state where they had a massive backlog in public defenders and already little pay for folks who have been arrested. The state literally is encouraging public defenders to open private practice. Now check this out. The plan also ties public defender pay to fees that their clients must pay their office whenever they're convicted. Louisiana is basically saying, we don't want anybody who's arrested who needs a public defender to get any help whatsoever. Gary Chambers, activist in Louisiana, Joseph from Baton Rouge. I mean, Gary, you know, I said, hashtag, we tried to tell you, all these folks who sat their ass at home, who didn't show up, guess what? We see what the real deal is now when it comes to Republicans and this legislature under Governor Jeff Landry. This is outrageous.
Roland, it is indicative of what Jeff has done since the day that he got in office. He started with a special session on crime. In that special session, he rolled back the rights of juveniles and said that we're going to start executions again in Louisiana. He has, since he's got into this session, gone after the public defender's office. He's cut there's right now a cut to the stipend for teacher pay increases. They are taking away probation and parole. If you get arrested in the state of Louisiana after August 1st, there is no parole in the state of Louisiana. Anything Jeff Landry can do to take us backwards, he's doing so. And he's even attempting to convene a constitutional convention, and he has not told a single person what he aims to change in the state's constitution.
I mean, I sit here and I was reading a story earlier where they potentially will pay them more if they plead out cases. Did I read that right?
So the objective is once convictions are made, that the prosecutors are going to make more money when convictions are made on the cases. So the sooner you get it off the books, the sooner you can make more money. And they're taking money away from the public defenders, which, you know, you go to school, you get a law degree, and you go to the public defender's office. You're not expecting to become a millionaire from the public defender's office, but you do want to be able to pay your bills.
It's absolutely crazy, stunning. Robert, your thoughts?
So on this exact point, I think this is crucial for people to understand why 90% of cases in the U.S. court system end in plea deals. That when you're talking about this, the public defender system, which is already underfunded, already understaffed, already overstressed, you're giving, you're basically greasing the slide to force these people to take these pleas because you don't have the manpower, the money, or the energy necessary to take all these cases to trial. Can you talk a little bit about the dangers that exist when people are really pushed both from the public defender and from the prosecution and from the judge to take plea deals as opposed to exercising their constitutional rights and actually going to trial on some of these cases?
Well, we know firsthand that over and over people are exonerated for crimes that they did not commit, right? And so if you don't have the ability to have fair representation or a representation that actually wants to try to find out your innocence or prove your innocence, you're at a disadvantage. The other thing is, over the last 8 years, Louisiana had John Bel Edwards, who was a Democrat, as governor, which a lot of the policies that he put in place was to help us address some of the criminal justice issues we have or the inequities within the criminal justice system. This governor is rolling those things back immediately, and I think that the consequence is he was an attorney general who is a former sheriff's deputy who is tough on crime and believes that the only way to fix crime is to lock people up. And there is no redemptive power for these people in incarceration under Jeff Landry. There is no path forward for these people. There is a belief that you are your worst decision, and we're going to penalize you for it, even kill you in the state of Louisiana, based on Jeff Landry's policies and the policies that are coming out of the state legislature right now.
Rebecca.
Hey, Gary, I used to live and work in Louisiana, and I'm thinking about some of my experiences there, including doing prison visits. And one of the things that I've been thinking about with this issue is follow the money. Because really, this is ultimately about money, because there are for-profit prisons in Louisiana. Under Bell's leadership with some of the criminal legal system reform, there was a decrease in the prison population, which hurt the bottom line of the for-profit prisons. So one of the things I'm not sure if viewers are aware, even when I was there post-Katrina and Rita, with some of the prison visits I did, it turns out that some of the people that was doing Know Your Rights presentations for were people who were being detained by ICE, because at the time, and I don't know if this is still the case, in other states, it costs about $150 a day to incarcerate someone, versus in Louisiana at the time, it costs about $47 a day. Louisiana figured out a way to make it cheaper because they don't provide air conditioning in some of the prisons in Danga, Louisiana. So one of the questions that I have is, can you talk more about the money that the state is making from these private contracts? Like, for instance, we know at Angola, like the first 9 months, you're in a chain gang and you're picking cotton in the fields outside of Angola. So we know there's a lot of craziness, and there is extreme reliance on prison labor as a revenue generator in Louisiana. So can you talk about that and the economic implications of why this particular policy is probably being pushed?
Well, I think that when you look at Jeff Landry's history as Attorney General, he attacked the rights of people consistently. And so his effort to put more people in jail is certainly to take care of the people who take care of his campaign accounts, right? Take care of the people who are funding the initiatives that are important to him, as well as the people who think like him, right? You got sheriff's officers who benefit from people being in their jail and the contracts and the work that those prisons provide to those businesses in those communities. We even had a sheriff in North Louisiana once say that the folks that are in jail, they wash our cars the best. You can't put them out and let them out. We need them to wash the cars and clean up, right? And so as if this is the 1800s and these folks are still on the plantation. Furthermore, there are people who work in the Capitol while they are prisoners that have to step on the side of the wall when a woman walks by, the same way you would if you were a slave and a white woman walked by in the 1800s or the early 1900s. That today, right now, if you go to the Louisiana State Capitol while session is in today, there are black people in chains that are walking around there cleaning the building. Well, excuse me, they're not in chains, but they're walking around the building in a uniform that indicates that they are prisoners, cleaning the state capitol, and if a woman walks by, they got to step on the side. That's Louisiana today, 2024, okay? They just passed a piece of legislation in the crime session that said that if you're a juvenile and you committed certain crimes, a few years ago, they rolled it back and said that 17-year-olds wouldn't be charged as adults for certain crimes. Jeff Landry has not been governor 6 months, and we are now charging 17-year-olds as adults again. And we just moved them from juvenile correctional facilities last week. Kids in East Baton Rouge Parish went from East Baton Rouge Parish Juvenile Detention Center to a correctional facility in Jonesboro, Louisiana with adults. That was last week.
Wow. Absolutely unbelievable. Tyler?
Yeah, Gary Chambers, I want to thank you for your leadership and your voice. You have inspired generations since I have watched you. And so thank you for your service and your voice. I would say I will echo those same words as it was mentioned before, following the numbers. As we look at it, over 65% of Louisiana's prisons are populated by people of color, in particular Black people, and over $625 million Louisiana spent every year in corrections, and over 40% of those crimes are nonviolent as it relates to drug or property crimes. What is the community saying in regards to the money that's being spent out and the targeting of communities of color, in particular Black folks, where their money is going to this system, but yet the governor is saying throw more people in jail?
I think that the community is stunned today. I think that folks who didn't vote, that's always in the comment section talking, they didn't believe that he'd hit them this fast, this hard. And now that he is, people are trying to figure out which way they're going to go. The truth is the only way you're going to go is to vote in the next few years, because I hope you're holding on and finding some lawyers so that we can sue, because the only way we're going to stop some of this is litigation. Also, hopefully Judge Shelley Dick is going to give us a map that's a fair map and call for new elections in Louisiana. If we get new legislative elections, then they won't have a supermajority in the Senate and the House. We'll pick up more seats in the Senate and the House for Black representation, and that will impede some of what they have. But we still have to get people in the attitude and disposition of understanding that you have to vote in every election, even when there are people on the ballot that you're not excited about, because we don't vote to get excited. We vote to get the job done, because we're paying taxes into a system where people are abusing our resources rather than using our resources to help our communities.
Actually, what I said to people is, we're going to keep our eyes on Louisiana, Gary, but I kept telling people it's going to be a long 4 years. And when you sit out, when you choose the couch over the ballot box, I don't want to hear a damn thing.
That's right. That's right. Thank you always, Roland, for illuminating what's happening down here. It's going to be a rough ride, but I got my cowboy boots on. I'm ready, brother.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.